Nothing in this recording is intended as investment advice, and the people in this recording may hold positions in the companies they talk about. Do not make any investment based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Hello and welcome to Zak's Traders Cafe. Today I'm joined by Igor Shoifot, who is an investment partner at TMT Investments. How are you today, Igor?
Very, very nice. How are you?
I'm very well. We haven't spoken before, but I've been dying to speak to somebody from TMT regarding AI. We did do an interview before Christmas with one of your colleagues, but at this point, literally in the last few days, the big question is AI dead?
Death is long overdue, and I think there are quite a lot of people waiting for the final announcement, but nobody knows when it's going to come or if it's going to come at all.
Right.
Uh,
So, I mean, it's a bit like you're probably not old enough to remember, but in a video killed the radio star. What is killing AI, and or is it just was it never really a thing? Was it ever anything other than just the latest tech?
it's really, really different from everything that existed before in technology because anything starting with the very, very first machines and up to very recently still required human beings. And with AI, it's really essentially AI all the way down. There are, of course, engineers that need to program it, at least for now. In the future, it might change. But AI essentially could do almost everything that human beings could. And I'm sure you remember the Turing test, which pretty soon will become not more, which already is not more than just a curiosity. To those who might not know what Turing test is, it's a very nifty little test by an English engineer where a human being in one room is asking questions of a machine and a human being in two other rooms and would be able or not able to tell which of the answering agents is a human being and which is a machine. So this no longer works at all. You can chat with GPT, Perplexity, Grok, etc., and you would not be able to tell that it's not a human being on the other side.
Well, you would because you'd have human beings make mistakes and say stupid things, whereas machines don't.
Oh, they do. They do. They hallucinate, and there's a whole bunch of PhD works done on how they hallucinate. And as a matter of fact, in communicating with a chat like GPT or DeepSeek and others, you could even regulate it, and you could even suggest that they could be more random or less random, more rude or less rude, use vernacular or not, crack pretty dirty or super dirty jokes, etc., etc.
And I suppose in my case, ask intelligent questions or ask dumb questions. Is that right?
You can ask any questions and you can pretty much regulate the level of intelligence and rudeness and dumbness and anything else. What you cannot do with most human beings, unless you're drinking with a friend and really asking your friend to be silly.
All right. And so another question which has just hit me, which probably AI wouldn't have managed to conflate, is that 2026 has started and you've seen the cryptos collapse and also you've seen the confidence in AI collapsing. Is there a connection between the two?
Very, very little. The main reason why I don't want to speculate too much about what's happening with crypto, but the main reason why so many people here, especially in Silicon Valley and in San Francisco, are waiting really for something for the bubble to burst, as we say here, is because there is way too much money thrown into AI and customer acquisition costs are absolutely crazy. So companies like Perplexity, OpenAI, etc., they have so much funding and they have so little push from investors from the market to be profitable, to actually show real business. But they have tremendous push in terms of market acquisition, and forget about the costs. And so obviously, when you're throwing hundreds of millions, sometimes billions of dollars at customer acquisition, you don't care about what the customer acquisition costs are. And your boards of directors are really telling you, grow, grow, grow. Do you need $500 million more? No problem. But when you say, well, listen, we're acquiring customers at roughly $700, but they're only making us $20, the board says, we really don't care. You need to become number one or number two. And that is, I think, the main threat that at some point very soon, and maybe that point has already been reached, a lot of companies will say, well, by the way, our last quarter expenses were 2 billion and our last quarter revenues were 150 million.
The other theme, which has well, some people have said to me that one of the reasons why Bitcoin has collapsed is the advance of quantum computing, and presumably that is going to make a difference when it's actually here. That would be a massive driver for, well, I suppose Bitcoin going to zero as a possibility off the back of that, and also well, that's what they say is the possibility, and then also it should supercharge AI, and AI would get go from sort of being in the second dimension to being in the third dimension. It would be sort of AI squared with it'd be AI squared with quantum computing. Can you comment on that?
Sure, I'd be glad to comment on that. Well, one thing, I'm not a big specialist in crypto, but there are different reasons why there are issues with crypto. And the main reasons, of course, are reversal in institutional and ETF flows. And probably one of the major reasons is this broader sentiment for macro pressures, geopolitical, sell off in AI stocks as well might be one of the reasons. But one interesting thing connecting crypto and AI is that both are very greedy for computing power. And AI is based on a lot of data centers, and all of these data centers cost a lot of money, and all of these data centers eat up a lot of electricity. I heard comparisons that by now AI consumes more electricity than Netherlands, which is just the beginning. Pretty soon it will consume as much electricity as France, et cetera, and it just continues to grow. And so one absolutely new industry that didn't exist before, neoclouds, is emerging, and it's emerging very, very fast. Companies that are really great at finding reasonably inexpensive, they're still expensive, but reasonably inexpensive, comparably inexpensive energy sources, and building modular major data centers at ticket prices of hundreds of millions of dollars, and having clients like OpenAI paying for that right away. So it's a brave new world, really.
And if you're going to make any predictions regarding the future of tech, the mixture between the AI maybe going down and the quantum computing coming up, what do you think is going to be the next big thing?
I agree with you that quantum computing could be huge. Nobody really, especially people working in this industry, nobody really knows where it's going to go. Just to step one step back, nobody at OpenAI expected ChatGPT to really become the business. Hence the very silly name that the world by now learned to pronounce, ChatGPT, but it's really not a name that people invented to market. It was just an internal little experiment, and all of a sudden it just started growing like jungle fire, and everybody started using it. So the same with quantum computing. People who are really deep into this, and I don't have a PhD in physics, are really saying that it's going to change the ability to deal with computations, the ability to create, the ability to calculate, but it might be a tremendous, tremendous threat to a lot of industries. For example, breaking codes, including just simply logging into people's banking accounts, could become pretty easy, and that's very scary. And not to mention the military security, because quantum computing could be very dangerous as far as breaking into stuff. But I think what's happening in many cases, one, the energy really becomes one of the most important things, because AI is going to be consuming more and more energy. Number two, human beings were used to being indispensable for the economy, and we're becoming less and less, we being human beings, we're becoming less and less necessary, not just for simple tasks like painting, delivery, and cleaning, but even for super, super complex tasks such as programming, selling, marketing, creating advertising, creating movies, creating paintings, writing music, playing football, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the scariest and the most exciting part of it all.
But it always seems to be that you have unforeseen negative consequences, or foreseen negative, or foreseeable negative consequences, but there don't seem to be positive ones from these developments. People are always talking about the bad things. I mean, does it mean that your iPhone might be a supercomputer, and will be a 3D thing, or it'll be in spatial sound, or whatever, whatever. I mean, whatever milestone we're trying to get to. There must be some good points with all the technology, right? Is it cheap? Makes computers
Oh, yeah.
cheaper? Make computers cheaper? What I mean, what is it?
I would say the overriding most amazing thing for humanity is that those of us who grew up reading science fiction and then watching Star Trek and other kinds of series and movies, we will, I think, pretty soon experience the society that we could have only dreamed about and really read in those sci-fi books. The society where robots will be, and they already are, doing all the non-creative, dirty, non-interesting, cleaning, moving, constructing, and a whole bunch of other pretty mundane jobs and tasks that human beings will be liberated from. But I think what's really amazing is that the things that we're used to really believing that human beings need to be involved, growing fruits and vegetables, catching fish, growing cows and pigs and chickens, et cetera, all of this will be done by the machines. And as a matter of fact, those of us who are vegetarians or vegans would finally be, I'm not, but I have a lot of vegan friends, would finally live in a world where cows and pigs, etc., are not going to be slaughtered, because all this stuff will be grown in labs, all the meat and and it will be super clean, wouldn't have the toxins, wouldn't have the carcinogenous elements, etc., etc. That would be amazing. I think this world could become more interesting because our creativity could grow. When we're writing books right now, we need to really type things up. But systems already exist where you can just talk with AI and say, well, here's my general idea. Here's the plot of a movie. What do you think? And AI would suggest a bunch of things, and you will say, well, can you rewrite it in Oscar Wilde style? Can you make it more risque? Can you make this more sardonic? Et cetera, et cetera. And here you go. Here's the screenplay. Can we replace in this video this actor with that actor, et cetera? So this world is going to be much more exciting, much more creative, much more liberating, especially from the point of view of not having to do a whole bunch of very, very mundane things, such as, cleaning up in your apartment, cooking. Some people love it, some people hate it. So yeah, it's going to be fun, but it's also going to be very, very dangerous. And human beings, just through the evolution, because our ancestors had to survive, we really always, that's how human beings work. We really always pay a lot more attention to pain and suffering and threats and unfortunately hate than we do to pleasure and joy. But hopefully the way AI is growing, it would give us more opportunity for pleasure and joy and creativity.
Well, I'm sure this call is part of that pleasure, but I think the other thing is that you have these sort of you're talking about Star Trek in the 20th century when I was young, 70s, 80s, that kind of thing. There was, and obviously in 1984, the dystopian view of the future of 2025 or 2026 would be that we have a surveillance state, we have a sinister nanny spying state. We can't breathe without being filmed, listened to, or anything else, and our lives will be made a misery from technology. And obviously, none of that's happened because we're all having such fun.
Yes and no. It's a whole separate conversation. We do live in a surveillance state. We Every time you go to any site, or every time you send an email to a friend, every time you use an Uber, or you walk somewhere with your phone, a whole bunch of companies such as Google know, they don't necessarily know that this is Zach. They don't necessarily know that this is Igor. They might know you as XYZ 300B2,
Mm.
but it's still you. If you're moving of your mouse, not your mouse, of your mouse is a bit wobbly, they know about that. If you're walking much faster with your phone than you usually are, they know about it, and there are algorithms that analyze it. We do live in a surveillance state. It's not as scary as it is in 1984. It's not as Orwellian in some ways, but Orwell didn't know about large language models. Orwell could have not predicted that Big Brother doesn't have to be literally, watching and having the reports of sycophants that are, reporting on whatever you told anybody, how you looked at the Big Brother poster. But Big Brother is everywhere, not in a scary, nasty, conspiring sense, but in the sense that everything we're doing is watched, everything we're doing is being recorded. Every time when you checked, some ski resort, it's going to be checked in. Every time when you discussed, something in a WhatsApp with your friend, it's being recorded that they were discussing girls. Maybe we should show them, dating sites, etc. Or they were discussing guys, and they are guys. Maybe we should show them gay sites and stuff like this. And this is happening. We are in the surveillance state, and it's going to increase. And it's not going to increase in 1984 style. I think it's going to be this sort of nice on the surface, non-threatening, not throttling our freedom of speech, but we are in the advertising-driven economy, and companies that do advertising do sometimes do things that may seem pretty scary to somebody who has not done advertising. They're targeting specific groups. They're working more and more not on demographics, but on psychographics. And they're analyzing things like I mentioned, how wobbly is your hand today? Is it possible that you have Parkinson's? Should we start advertising specific services to you? And the social networking algorithms are, you could call them scary. I wouldn't say I'm scared of them, but they're scary in the sense that uh, Facebook, Twitter or X, YouTube, etc., they're editing what you're seeing. If you're like, I have thousands of people following me on Facebook, and I probably have literally dozens of actual real friends, but I don't choose who I see. Facebook chooses what I see. Facebook chooses what I should be seeing. And from the point of view of algorithms, not because they're evil, but because it just works for them, they want me to be excited, angry, and constantly on the edge of my seat, and refreshing the page, typing stuff so that they could learn more about me and showing me more advertising. And if they start showing me cute cats of my friends, I will not be excited. I'll just put a little heart and be like, oh, that's a cute cat, and that's the end of it. And if they say, oh, Israelis are bombing those poor Palestinians, aren't you angry? The Iranian mullahs are killing the people. Aren't you angry? The Russians are killing Ukrainians. Aren't you angry? The left is crazy. The right is crazy, and you get angry, and you're angry, excited, and your moral intuitions kick in, and you stop being rational. And that's the brave new world. Sorry for the dark picture.
Well, no, I was going to say my views would be but a tyranny of technology, and nothing from what you said has changed my view, which is perhaps rather depressing, and a perfect ending to this particular podcast. Igor Shoifot, investment partner at TMT Investments. Thank you very much, and hopefully next time we can cheer people up.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Much appreciated.